Hey, Joel. I'm Jeff. We're two men in the Bible.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Joel. Hey, guys. Did you vote this year?
I voted.
Did you vote in the primary?
I voted in the primary.
You know, I wonder if a lot of people out there even know that there is a primary, because it's the count of the number of people that vote in a primary in June is really super low compared to the general election. And you would consider that to be normal. But I don't even believe there should even be a primary. It should just go right from the convention of each of the parties right to the general election. What do you think?
I do think. I agree.
Yeah.
And also there should be able to be 15 or 30 or 400 Republicans and 400 Democrats to vote for. I mean,
yeah.
If somebody is willing to put forth the effort to get all the signatures that are needed,
I think there can be now. I don't think that number is limited. If you can get the signatures, you can be on that ballot, I think.
But you can't be on as a Republican, or you can't be on as a Democrat.
Yeah, that's
that's the part that I think is very wrong on both people's part.
I see.
I do. Let me just say this about that. I think you could have an asterisk beside the one that the Republicans have voted for. So, for example, I don't want to use names, but let's say that John is the person that the Republicans voted to have as their candidate.
Yeah.
Well, John gets an asterisk beside his name and an R. Yeah. You know, the Republican or
the Republican pick, but the others can still run as a Republican.
But all the other people can run. If there's 400 people that choose to get all the signatures that are needed, they should be able to run as a Republican.
Okay.
But they just don't have the asterisk beside it.
Okay. Now, by the way, folks, this is not our topic, but I really like it. But I want to counter that as to why I think we can't do that. Because the Republican Party is a private organization. It's not really supposed to be governed by laws, just like a private company. So therefore, the private organization has the right to write their own rules.
That's true.
So I still kind of agree with what you're saying, but
I guess, okay, then what I would say then is that the Republicans should change their rules.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So work on that, Joel, would you? And while you're doing it, let's get rid of the primary too.
Well, you know, yeah, exactly. I mean, there shouldn't be a primary.
Because really the Republican convention, the Democrat convention is the place where that should be chosen. And then that's where your law or your rule
of the asterisks.
Of the asterisks and all that.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm okay with having the asterisks there, because I think the people should know who the Republican Party did choose to put in that position.
What, could it be a smiley face instead of
whatever?
Hey guys, we are going to talk today about the importance of being involved politically as a Christian, but more specifically, now is the time for people with moral values, people with Christian worldviews, people with conservative values, people who, quite frankly, believe in freedom,
care about our country.
Care. If you've ever complained about where our country's headed, where our state's headed, now is the time to put feet on those complaints, because this next 4 months is the legislative session,
which we're in
Dakota.
Right now.
Yeah, right. We're from the recording. Yeah, this would be beginning of January.
Yeah,
it is the beginning of the bills, and we're going to go over those. And Christians, make yourself aware of what's going on, because
we don't know all the bills, folks, but we do know some of them.
Yeah, right. We don't know all the bills, and especially at the time of this recording, if you listened last week, you heard about the 10 Commandments in the Schools bill that I'm carrying, that will have, probably by now, in the listening of this, have a number on it. So please follow that and consider testifying. But we just kind of want to go over the categories that these are just some of the categories that we want to encourage you and inform you of to what's going on. You ready, Joel? Should we hit the categories?
I'm ready.
He's ready. All right, Jason, you ready? All right.
He's not ready. Hi, Jason.
So we got, first of all, the broad categories are, why a Christian should care is this is sometimes God versus government. You want government to get so big it becomes our God. So
that's really what's going on. That is really what's going on. We've replaced God with our government. In fact, that's one of my great fears of having President Trump being president now, because Christians will quit going after things because they're thinking in their mind,
Trump's going to take care of it all.
Trump is going to take care of everything.
And by the way, we're very thankful for this open window that we do have nationally. But it reminded me, Joel, of a Bible verse. And this, keep in mind, we're making the case here. We're bold enough to say that the reason that we're spiraling in two different ways, morally down and size of government bigger, those two things are bad. And the reason we've been doing that is because because Christians have not been involved, because there's been such a strong emphasis for way too many years that if you're a Christian, you should avoid politics. You shouldn't even talk about politics.
Well, if you let the heathen rule, the heathen are going to rule.
What do you expect? But we're also not advocating that you have to be all wrapped up in politics for your whole life. But now we do need to be involved, and we do need to be focused on local politics because the time is upon us. And
North Dakota has 4 months every 2 years. 4 months every 2 years.
And a Bible verse I want to encourage you with is 1 Timothy 2:2. 1 Timothy 2:2. It says, I don't have a Bible in front of me, but it's to the effect. Go ahead and read it, Joel.
I do have it.
Yeah.
1 Timothy 2, verse 1 first. First of all, then, I urge that the prayers, petitions, and thanksgivings be made on behalf of all men, for the kings and all who are in authority. That's verse 2 that Jeff was referring to. For the kings and all who are in authority. In other words, our legislators, our presidents, governors, our
Congress,
all
local leaders, city leaders, county.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're talking about our mayors. We're talking about the city council. We're talking about the township advisors. We're talking about the county commissioners.
How about the dog catcher? Does that include
even the dog catcher? Because it says all men.
Okay.
Verse 1. Verse 2, for the kings and all who are in authority, in order that we may lead a tranquil and quiet life in all godliness and dignity.
Okay. That's
the key.
That's beautiful. See, our goal isn't say, because we want to be political. Our goal is there are times and seasons when we have to get in there, not to use the government to control people, but to beat the government back down to size so that God is still ruling and not the government.
It says, folks, so that we can live a tranquil and quiet life.
Yeah.
Most conservative people don't want to get involved in politics. Right. They don't want to get involved in all the leadership scenarios. They just want to live their life.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Let me go about my business.
Yep.
Joel, Jeff, quit talking to us about getting involved in stuff because we want to just be quiet and live
and we want that
life.
For you too. But you look at it like this. There are times,
but it has to go backwards. It has to go backwards. It has to go backwards in order for us to get the quiet life.
Yeah.
Because we have to get involved so that we can have the quiet life.
Because the flood is upon us and it's here. We're being flooded. And if there's a flood, I want to lead a quiet life too. But if there's a flood, if the river goes up and it comes towards our house, sorry, I'm going to have to set aside a lot of other priorities for a while and fight that flood and beat it back and put up a dam and sandbag to get that flood back under control so that it becomes just a river that flows. That's what we believe we're in the time right now. And that's why we believe a lot more North Dakota citizens, preferably those with solid Christian worldview and conservative-minded, freedom-minded politics. That's the combination we need because that's the combination that built this country.
Well, that's why we're talking this morning is because There's a whole bunch of things coming before us in this legislature, this new legislature that's upon us. And
Okay,
Jeff's got a list.
so let's read a few categories here. And if you're at a place where you can get a paper and a pencil, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to write these down. And
you can also reverse us and do it over and reverse us and do it over and reverse.
Yeah, right. Okay, now we're not one of these. We may or may not, but the first one that is going to be discussed in the legislature for sure this year
is 2 men in the Bible. I just thought I'd throw that.
So I wonder what they're going to say about that. Oh, maybe a $2 million funding program.
That's it.
They're going to fund us. Good one, Joel. So
I wouldn't even know how to spend that much money.
We'd help you.
Yeah,
we'd help you.
I'd hope so.
Trust me, I've thought about it many times.
Let's make it $3 million because we got Jason too.
He needs
sold. You've got my vote.
All right. Hey, I'll bring a bill for that too. By the way, just since we're doing a little humor here, at the end of last session, it gets kind of stressful and busy, and you're pretty burned out. So a few of us that get together, we got together in somebody's home where they had a big upstairs and a big downstairs, and we just did a mock House and Senate. So we just drew names. If you're upstairs, you're in the House, and downstairs, you're in the Senate, and then each had to make up 2 or 3 just fun fake bills. So we had things like one bill was to make cow pie throwing the state
winner
sport. We had one that redrew the boundaries.
Do you know that I used to use cowboys for Frisbees?
Yeah, a lot of us, Frisbee, just make sure it's dry, right?
Yeah, it only works as dry.
We had a bill to give Fargo to Minnesota.
That's a great one.
So we had a good time. I won't tell you how the votes went on that, but anyway. So here's some real categories that will be dealt with by way of bills, issues, discussions, et cetera, in North Dakota. The property tax one is going to, now we were supporters of Measure 4. We still want to see property tax go away, but that will be in the legislators' hands right now. Most of them have promised, even Kelly Armstrong, the new governor, has promised that that's going to be a priority. I would think it's fair to say that Joel and I don't think a whole lot's going to come out of the legislature. It's still run by a more non-platform, should I say, or a more liberal-minded,
group.
Republicans. There's Republicans that believe we need to use the government to grow and solve problems and invest, and then there's others that what I think is closer to the platform of the Republican Party, which is smaller government, beat it down to size, et cetera. But anyhow. The big effect of the property tax, the current leading concept right now is capping local spending,
which is weird. The extreme opposite of what should be done.
It's not local control. That's basically
taking away.
To me, that's the state saying, "Well, we don't want to cut our spending. You cut your spending."
Yeah,
so
that's
we'll see. That's
telling the local people. We don't believe that you can make the decisions.
Yeah, but if you guys care about that, follow the property tax stuff and plan to travel to Bismarck if you can. Another one is equal protection. And we've had Amber Vibetto on our show. She's been the springboard. Oh, by the way, I got to give credit to the people that started Measure 4. We're from Minot here. And the one person now she has given me permission to share her name is Patty Eisenzimmer. And her and Steve Moen were really the beginning of that measure. And then later they recruited Rick Becker to be a chair, and they used, he authored that measure. So credit where credit is due. And there was other people involved as well. Okay, equal protection then is abortion issue. Now, Joel and I and Jason, we all support equal protection strongly. We had Amber on our show more than once, and she's going to run there is a bill. Again, we're taping a little early, so I'm not really sure if there's 2 or not. There might be 2, one in the Senate side and one in the House. follow that. Equal protection means that a baby in the womb should have the same protection as a baby out of the womb. Why is that controversial within the pro-life community? Because equal protection for the baby in the womb implies that there would be accountability, even some level of punishment for the pregnant mother who has the abortion.
Or the persons that cause the abortion.
The
reason I say that is because sometimes a mother actually has no choice because the father is forcing her to do it, or the grandparents are forcing her,
the boyfriend or the husband.
The boyfriend, or an outside source is pushing that woman to do it against her will.
Well,
that does happen.
And right now, if you look at a parallel law, suicide laws, if you aid somebody in a suicide, like let's say you encouraged it or went and got the pills or the rope or loaded the gun for them or helped them out in any way, you too are held accountable. So anyway, that's why, unfortunately, the Right to Life crowd, the North Dakota Family Alliance crowd, the Concerned Women of North Dakota crowd are all opposed to the Equal Protection Bill because they believe that under all circumstances, no matter what, the mother is always a victim and has to remain a victim. So that's the heart of that issue. Okay. Next one is, I do believe there will be a repeal of the primary seatbelt law that deals with freedom. If you don't like, by primary, it used to be secondary. In other words, the police had to pull you over for something else. And then if they noticed you didn't have a seatbelt, secondarily you'd get. But then this
I'm going to tattle everybody. Jeff just got picked up for...
All right. Thanks a lot, Joel. I don't think I'll be carrying that one, but I do support the repeal. I think it should be moved back to secondary.
I would very much support the repeal.
Another issue that's going to hit.
You're welcome, Jeff, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll pay you big money for that. once we get our $3 million from the legislature for our show. Christian nationalism. Now, I don't know what to say about that other than it's a derogative term, kind of made up. I mean, it's
a made up term.
It's a thing, but it's really more being used in a made up way as a slam against conservative Christians.
It'd be against people in favor of the 10. Excuse me. It'd be against people who are in favor of the 10 Commandments being in school.
Yeah. Right. That's going to, we're going to hear a lot of people, that's Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
And they're implying that we are out to force people to be Christians, which is not even close to the truth. The truth is that a Christian has just as much right to influence the government as anybody else.
Right.
If you're atheist, you have a right. If you're a Buddhist, you have a right. You have a right to use your moral foundation to influence the government. And guess what? So do we. So
and the government isn't influencing anyone if they put these posters up.
Yeah, but for some reason, they've come up with this idea that if a Christian does it, then that's Christian nationalism, and they want to pretend that we're Muslim.
The ALCA has some very wicked people in it that are trying to destroy Christianity in every sense of the word.
Well, and they've started a group. I mean, there's a group now. I think it might even be a national group called Christians Against Christian Nationalism. So it's like CACN. So that's another category. We better zip along here, Joel. We got 6 minutes left. Okay. I call them the rainbow bills. There's probably going to be both sides of the rainbow, the transgender, all that kind of stuff. There's going to be carbon capture, carbon sequestration stuff going on,
which is the stupidest bill that's ever
We are against
existed.
Carbon sequestration because plants and animals need plants need carbon. Animals eat.
I was just at a conservation district meeting, and what we discovered, you're going to love this, everybody, is the very, very, very best thing for the land is to have cattle on it.
Yes.
The very best thing to have is cattle on the land. And why that is because it eventually produces and brings back deserts into flourishing ecosystems. It it brings back the land the way it was supposed to be, the way God originally designed it. And so what happens then is, guess what happens? All of that carbon goes into the grass. It goes into the trees. It grows into all the plants. We've been missing all these plants. The climate people are burning down. They burnt down last year, in the year 2023. They burnt down land equivalent to the state of Ohio in Canada. You all remember the fire or the smoke that came here in both 23 and 24. And we had smoke in previous years from these Canadian fires. They're trying to destroy this natural use of carbon. And
so that's the scientific reason why we're against it. But politically, one of the reasons that I oppose this is because all the oil people and them, they want it because there's a market there. But here's the problem. It's a fascist market. It's a government-created market. It's not a natural market. It's not a free market. Okay, Kelly Armstrong's going to be our new governor. Follow what he's doing. He's just kind of been untested as far as a governor. He does, have not the best track record for freedom and spending and all that as a national guy. But I know he's got big things on his mind, like workforce development, which we believe is not a role for the government. It's for the free market. He wants to subsidize daycare. He wants school lunches paid for, et cetera, et cetera. I doubt he would be for equal protection, and I'm sure he's for carbon capture. And so I think he's going to be on the wrong side of a lot of things.
Maybe for 10 Commandments, though.
Maybe. We'll see with the 10 Commandments. So that's another one, guys, 10 Commandments. Follow that. Find out the bill number of that one. Please come to...
The thing I think about daycare is the best thing that would ever happen to daycare is get rid of every single regulation and let the parents decide whether that person is a good daycare provider or not.
What a concept. What a concept.
Just get rid of 100% of the regulations.
The parent knowing what's best for their child.
Yeah, let the parent decide what's best for the child.
Another bill that I'm involved in is blocking the United Nations agenda. Last time I was able to get a couple across that were related to healthcare or health regulations and climate, but this bill will will protect North Dakota from all.
Oh, that would be even better.
The UN agenda. Anything that comes out of the UN. I mean, we can listen to their crazy ideas and vote and implement them ourselves.
Yep.
But they can't come in here and say, okay, you have to shut your business down. You have to regulate this. You have to do this and that.
They don't even. I think you should keep out their UN people as well.
Right. Okay. Then foreign adversaries owning land in in North Dakota, that does have a number. It's 2371. That's a carryover from last session. It's been improved. It's probably still not perfect, but right now, foreign adversaries like China, Iran, North Korea, et cetera, who are listed on the federal list of foreign adversaries cannot. It was 50% ownership of property. Now we've got it down to 0.
That's awesome.
We hope it stays that way because it still has to be voted on.
Yeah.
So in the interim, we did get that down to 0.
I think we should not have a single acre.
And let's hope that most
owned by
let's hope
China.
That most legislators agree with you on that. But we'll see. But that's 2371. Senate bill, SB 2371. Bob Paulson was the sponsor of that. And then there's, I think, going to be one in North Dakota coining money. Now, Texas and Oklahoma and a few other states have already done that. Let's hope that we follow suit. We don't even have to coin it yet, but we can put an apparatus in place so that we can do it quickly if we need to with what's happening with the federal dollar.
Is that just a quick question for clarification on that? Would that mean that North Dakota would have its own form of currency?
Yes.
So separate from the federal U.S. dollar?
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll be a computerized one or a real one or whatever, but like I said, right now, Texas and Oklahoma, and I think a couple other states have already put in structural laws to allow that to freely happen. So I'm not directly involved in that, but I'm excited about it.
You got
And then
35 seconds.
30 seconds, last one, budget limit of the North Dakota government. Okay, folks, the bottom line is 1 Timothy 2:2. Our goal isn't to have government control our lives. Our goal is for God to control our lives so that we can live peaceful and godly lives, just like Joel read at the beginning. These are the categories. Stay tuned. Stay tuned with a lot of things. Rumble. We're not only going to have a regular radio show, but we're going to have other clips. So stay tuned to North Dakota Christian Worldview Politics. God bless
2 Men in the
everybody.
Bible.
2 Men in the Bible.